For 3 cycles, the plague had devoured Starbase Epsilon. It was a creature of living, shimmering metal, and it was unstoppable. Our plasma cannons couldn't touch it, our energy shields were useless, and it treated the hard vacuum of space like a mild inconvenience. We, the Kaha, a species that had bent the laws of physics to our will, were being eaten alive. Hull integrity was failing across 17 sectors. Our brightest minds were stumped. Our military, armed with moon-cracking weapons, was worthless. These creatures, the Chrome mates, just gnawed through it all, their razor-toothed maws silently chewing up our greatest achievements. So, in our absolute desperation, we sent a distress call to the one species we all agreed was too chaotic to ever formally classify: humanity. We expected a superweapon, a dark matter bomb, maybe some reality-bending device born of their frantic, illogical minds. What we got was a message. A simple, text-only transmission that read, "Help is on the way. We're sending our best agent, Mittens. My name is High Commander Vaxdor." I hovered over my command console, all 6 of my appendages twitching with an anxiety that did not suit my rank. The grand hologram that usually showed the serene dance of nebulae was now just a schematic of the starbase, painted in a sickening crimson. Blinking icons marked every hull breach and power outage. For weeks, we'd thrown everything we had at the Chrome mates. Our plasma cannons, the blasts just glanced off their metallic hides, leaving shimmering scorch marks. They seemed to feed on. We even vented entire sectors to the void. The mites just paused, as if enjoying the silence, before getting back to their feast. They were a biological and mechanical impossibility. They didn't seem to reproduce, yet their numbers grew exponentially, converting the very metals they had into more of themselves. Our station, a marvel of engineering, and home to 37 species, was eating itself. The reports from the lower decks were harrowing. Maintenance crews would find entire junctions hollowed out, the walls just a writhing, silvery mass of skittering things. The unflappable Ploxy merchants had sealed themselves in their cargo bays, and the stoic, crystalline silicates had stopped vibrating, a sign of absolute terror. Our council ran quadrillions of simulations. Every single one ended the same way, with the complete collapse of Starbase Epsilon. Finally, Elder Kazan, whose mind had witnessed the birth of our empire, spoke the unspeakable. "There is one recourse left," he projected, his voice heavy. "We must ask the humans." A wave of unease rippled through the room. Humans, the galactic anomaly. They'd stumbled into space a few centuries ago and had since spread like a weed. They weren't conquerors, they weren't even organized. They were just weird. Their tech was a bizarre mix of hyper-advanced principles and primitive brute force. They used something called duct tape to hold critical systems together. When an asteroid threatened one of their colonies, they didn't deflect it. They landed on it, drilled a hole, and set off a nuclear device, all while the mission leader fell in love with his boss's daughter. It was illogical, emotional, pure chaos, but they were also maddeningly effective. And so, we made the call. Their response about Agent Mittens arrived, and our best decryption arrays found no hidden meaning. It was just that. Mittens. We prepped the docking bay for a super dreadnought. What we got was a single, laughably small freighter that looked more like a delivery truck, its designation listed as Cosmic Courier. My sub-commanders exchanged nervous glances. Was this a joke? A human prank in our darkest hour? A single human disembarked, wearing a simple, stained jumpsuit with Dave stitched on the pocket. He was holding a small box. He strolled past my honor guard, gave a casual nod, and said, "Hey folks, Dave, from Human Pest Control, Interstellar Division. Got a call about some metal munchers?" He had the air of someone here to fix a leaky faucet. I descended from the observation deck, rigid with barely contained panic. "You are the human delegation?" I asked. "Delegation?" Dave chuckled. "Nah, it's just me. And Mittens, of course." He gestured to the carrier. Top Brass said this was a job for our best. I peered at the box. Through the mesh, 2 glowing green orbs stared back. A low, vibrating sound hummed from within, a rhythmic purr. My sensors had no data on such a phenomenon. Was it a sonic weapon? A vibrational disruptor? "This, Mittens, is your secret weapon?" I asked. Dave knelt and unlatched the carrier. "Secret? Nah, but weapon? Yeah, I guess you could call her that." A creature emerged. It was small, covered in black fur, and moved with a liquid grace. It had a long, twitching tail and immediately started scratching the deck plating with its sharp claws. It looked at me, blinked slowly, and then began to rub against my lower appendage, shedding all over my ceremonial armor. I was frozen. This was it. This was humanity's solution. A small, furry, vibrating organism. The docking bay was utterly silent, save for the creatures purring and the distant groans of our dying station. My sub-commander leaned in, whispering, "Sir, our scans indicate it is a carbon-based mammal. Minimal energy signature. Its primary outputs are thermal radiation and affection." We had asked for a savior. Humanity had sent us a pet. Before we see what this baffling creature does next, a quick word. Our data suggests a significant number of you watching haven't yet subscribed. Subscribing is a simple, zero-cost action that ensures you receive all future analyzers of humanity's most bizarre and effective strategies. Go on, engage that button. Now, back to the weapon. All right, Dave said, clapping his hands. Where's the infestation worst? I managed to find my voice. Sector Gamma 7, the primary engineering conduit. But the area is unshielded. Your agent. It will be exposed. Dave just shrugged. She'll be fine. Just point us in the right direction and maybe rustle up a saucer of milk for when she gets back. Milk. A lactation-based fluid from a Terran bovine. The request was so absurd I didn't know how to process it. We escorted them to the sealed entrance of Gamma 7. Dave opened the hatch and the creature, Middens, trotted inside as if she owned the place. Dave just leaned against the wall, pulled out an electronic slate, and started playing some primitive 2D game we watched on the security monitors. The corridor inside was a nightmare. The walls writhed with thousands of chrome mates, a living carpet of metallic death. Middens walked into the center of the frame, paused, and gave a long, fluid stretch. Then she sat down and began to meticulously clean her face. My sub-commander turned to me, his mandibles quivering. "Commander, it's grooming. Is this some kind of psychological warfare? To display such nonchalance?" Before I could answer, it happened. In a blur of black fur, Middens launched herself into motion. It wasn't a run or a leap. It was an explosion. She hit the wall and scampered sideways across the mass of mites, defying gravity. Her movements were chaotic, unpredictable, and lethal. A paw would flash out, a single claw would hook a chrome mate, and a flick would send it flying. She'd pounce and bat them around like toys. The creatures that shrugged off plasma fire were being treated like bottle caps they had no protocols for. Play. Middens wasn't just killing them. She was hunting them. She would stalk a small group, her body low, tail twitching, and then pounce just beside them, scattering them in confusion. Then she'd pick them off one by one, batting them into the air, catching them, and finishing them with a single, precise bite. We heard a faint crunch. She was eating them. Her primitive digestive system was dissolving the very things our advanced weapons couldn't scratch. This wasn't a battle. It was pest control as an art form. The small, furry life form this Chaos Goblin, as one junior officer later called her, was a whirlwind of mayhem, using the low gravity to ricochet off walls and ambush clusters from above. She treated the entire disaster zone as her personal playground. Within a single rotation, Gamma 7 was silent. The feed showed Middens calmly grooming herself amidst the inert husks of thousands of chrome mites. Dave, smiling faintly, just said, "See? Told you she's the best." He opened the hatch, and Middens trotted out and let out a small meow. My translator identified it as a request for food. We were stunned. Over the next cycle, Dave released 3 more agents: Chaos Goblin, a fluffy white one named General Flufferpants, and a sleek, silent one called Shadow. The 4 of them systematically cleansed the station. The effect on the populace was profound. Terror transformed into a bizarre reverence. The silicate monks began to vibrate again, claiming the cats were divine messengers of cosmic balance. They started interpreting their actions. A cat napping in a sunbeam was a sign of prosperity. A cat knocking a data pad off a console was the symbolic destruction of outdated logic. When General Flufferpants fell asleep on the main command table during a briefing, the monks declared it a holy sign, and the table was immediately decommissioned and turned into a shrine. Offerings appeared in the corridors, bowls of nutrient paste, shimmering crystals, data wafers. The cats ignored all of it. Dave became an unlikely high priest. Species would approach him for guidance on appeasing the furry deities. He'd just laugh and say, "Just scratch him behind the ears. They like that. Behind the ears became a new Kahar idiom for finding a simple, unexpected solution. Our entire culture shifted. We, who valued logic and order, were saved by a small creature driven by pure instinct. The cats weren't just pest control. They were a philosophical crisis. They were everything we were not: chaotic, simple, and instinctual. And they had saved us. The great chromite plague ended not with a bang, but with a purr. The cats, their work done, became beloved, if eccentric, permanent residents. Dave was offered the rank of chief strategist. He politely declined, saying he had a greeble infestation to deal with on Cygnus X1, but he left us a gift, a breeding pair of his agents. Today, Starbase Epsilon is famous not for its technology, but for being the first multi-species habitat to successfully integrate felines. Our new ships are all built with a small, sunlit room designated the Feline Operations Center. We learned that the universe isn't always a problem to be solved with logic. Sometimes the most complex threats require the simplest solutions. And sometimes the most powerful weapon in the galaxy isn't a cannon that shatters worlds, but a four-legged creature of chaos that, when it curls up on your console and starts to purr, makes you feel like everything is going to be alright.